Sorry, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name's Emma.
And I'm Surabhi.
And we are Team Laika. We have a problem. It's a very real problem. It's a very serious problem. Every year in the UK, 250,000 dog bites are occurring. People are getting hurt. And with the media stirring up a frenzy about dog attacks and about status dog owners, panic is rising. But 250,000 dog bites, while it sounds like a lot, out of 10 million dog owners in the UK, is actually quite a small percentage. So if we're talking about everybody in this room, it's me and Surabhi giving you guys a bad reputation, instilling fear in the rest of you. Yes, there's a problem that we need to attack, but it's a two-pronged problem. On the one hand, it's about perception, and on the other, it's about reality. It's a fear, and the deepest part of fear is about control. And how do you take control? You empower people. We believe that the government's introduction of a dog register is a really, really powerful way to address this problem. We think it puts the onus back on the owners, and that's really great because they are, after all, the people holding the leads. You're asking for 95% compliance with the register. That's ambitious, but we believe that we can achieve that, and we're going to tell you how.
I think that's exactly what makes it so exciting in this brief. Because if you look at the kinds of audiences we're speaking to, they're actually really different from each other. So on the one hand, we've got people, regular families, that love their dogs. 70% of British dog owners say that they love their dogs as much as they do their own kids. And they would willingly sign up for this register. They're law-abiding, they're already responsible, they're doing everything they can. But on the other hand, we've got another audience, which is small, but it's growing in number. It's these urban, tough youth that have scary dogs, the ones that instill fear in us. But they're not interested in mainstream. And the problem is that they don't listen to the government. It's very difficult to speak to them. Whereas the other side, it's quite easy to speak to them, and they listen. How do you speak to both these audiences with one message? And we struggled with that quite a bit. We tried to find the one-size-fits-all solution. And after a few weeks, I think we realized there wasn't one, because they're just so different from one another.
So what we realized was,
the challenge is actually to tell people, not to tell people to be responsible, but it's about making them want to sign up. Because nothing works when you actually tell someone to be responsible. They already think they're responsible. We've spoken to these people, the good ones. The bad ones were a bit scary, but the good ones already said that they think their dogs are part of their family. They don't see a problem. And if you look at stats, 85% of dog bites happen in the home. These people don't see the problem. These are just mistakes that happen one-off. How are you going to convince them to want to sign up to a register with all the fears about nanny state Britain and all of that? So it's really interesting how to deal with this, and that's what the challenge is actually.
So we're listening to these people, we're saying, yes, you are responsible, great that you think that. We're inviting you to lead the way for responsible dog ownership in the UK. We're inviting the responsible majority to do that and helping the minority to take control. So our overarching creative idea is...
Which actually targets both.
Which targets both parties, is take the lead. It's about empowering the majority to show that they're already responsible and the minority to become responsible.
In terms of pre-launch, we think it's really important to actually speak to people more than just the audiences. I think it's important to start with stakeholders because we need them to get convinced that we found what we think is a good solution. We need them on our sides, and it's about telling them that actually the government's taking the lead. And as local councils, because the idea is so rooted in the local councils and in people, it needs to be about them taking the lead as well. So it's not just about the government telling you what to do, but it's eventually going to be up to you to do it as well. Taking our first audience, the ones that are actually the beginning of our idea, it's about showing them how, well, it's about them showing us how they're responsible. And it starts with an outdoor campaign, very tactically placed, big parks, places where you walk your dog, places where you guys actually are. And it's slightly emotive, it's not harsh at all, it's not the government talking at someone. And the main message is to drive them to the website. And the website is going to be the hub where we hope registrations will happen, but also which will educate. And of course, as all good campaigns are, it's linked very much into social media. So we have a YouTube channel that has educational videos on it. There's also consumer-generated content on there. There's Facebook where you can sponsor. We can have things where people change their photographs with their dog's picture on it, and Twitter to keep the buzz around the campaign going.
And all of this stuff will be, slowly driving the numbers forward in the register. But what we really want to do is actually make this visible. People are being responsible already, as we've found, in their own homes, but we want to get them out of their homes, into the streets of London, and show the media, who are one of our main audiences, because they're the ones, stirring up this fear, and say to them, yes, we've listened to you, you've brought this problem to light, but actually celebrate this. And we are going to show that in a big event. That event is the Great British Dog Walk. British people love a good event. They love tea parties. You know what the royal wedding was like. This event involves walking from place to place, from John O'Groats down to Land's End, with registration points at every point. Whether you walk for 5 minutes or for 5 miles, you're being sponsored for the RSPCA, and you're taking the lead for your community. It's a celebratory thing. Local dog-friendly pubs will open their doors and celebrate dog-friendly Britain. Everyone will want to be part of it, and it will finish at the Houses of Parliament on the day that the law becomes enforced. So our tone of voice will change slightly at that point, and we're informing people this is now the law.
Hang on. Sorry. Yeah, now go for it. Just a snippet.
Good morning and welcome to another sunny day in Brighton. You're listening to Clive Pembridge on Heart Brighton, waking you up and maybe even walking your dog. Why do I say this? I'll tell you why. Tomorrow's the day that all of Brighton's dog lovers and Guinness Book of Records enthusiasts alike have been waiting for. The Great British Dog Walk. Me and Jasper will be joining the likes of Jerry Halliwell, Jemima Carr and their four-legged friends, and heading down to Brighton Pier tomorrow morning to take part in the very first leg of the Great British Dog Walk. It's all in aid of the RSPCA, so register your dog online and come and join me and 2 million others who have already taken the lead.
As much as that is about participation, turning to our second audience, it's still about participation, but it's slightly different. We're trying to talk to them when they're not on the mainstream. This is not government being the kids, this is not government speaking kid language, so this is not, it's under take the lead, but it's slightly different tone of voice. And if you look at this audience, it's about a man's control, and it's about a man's control over his dog. And it's maybe not something we all understand, to be honest, but for them it's a big insight. They actually want control over this animal, which they have in their house, not necessarily well trained, but they still have it there. So we're launching a YouTube channel, because that's where they are. They're social, they're online, they're on mobile, and it's all about friends. So this is a music channel, that's the way it's placed, so it gets people involved. But there's a mixtape made up of all their favourite artists, people that they look up to, which they can download when they register. And even more than that, there's going to be an event, money can't buy, only by invitation, obviously, only registered dog owners, without their dogs, please. But it's about the music, and it's about their love for music, and it's a way to get them to sign up, because on that channel we will have educational videos, but it's about getting them to interact where we want them to interact, and then spreading the message from there. So it's empowering them to become responsible, but a slightly different lead-in. And it's not just about execution that gets everyone there and gets participation, but it's also about very integrated media. And this is something we've done a lot of in-depth research on, and we feel that there's very different opportunities all along the way to not just drive awareness, but also amplify at various different points. So social, mobile, wherever everyone is where we're going to be as well. And if you look at the figures, and there's more in our document, there's a lot to be said, but we're very confident that we're going to reach the 95% compliance mark with all of this coming together as a movement.
And the reason we're confident about that is because this campaign is not about the government telling people to do something. It's not about doom and gloom anymore. And let's face it, Britain needs a good celebration. Let's celebrate collective responsibility for dog ownership. Thank you so much.